You watched Civil War recently.
I did watch Civil War, and I'm not talking about the Captain America one. It is the Alex Garland.
It's the boring one.
I
haven't seen it.
It's not boring. It's the latest Alex Garland movie and possibly his last directed movie. I think he said in an interview that he doesn't want to do directing anymore. I think he's just going to stick to writing. Yeah.
For those that don't know, he's previously done Annihilation, Ex Machina, and Men, which was not that well received.
Yeah. Civil War was a bit more well received, I think, according to the critics. It's got like a pretty decent IMDb score. The premise of the movie is very simple. It is basically a modern day civil war in America, and a group of photojournalists are trying to trek across to Washington, D.C. to try to get an interview with the president. And yeah, along the way, they come across various scenarios pretty much. And I really like this movie. It's probably like the best looking and best sounding movie of this year so far.
Better than Dune 2?
I like it better than Dune 2, yeah. Like, I've always been a fan of Alex Garland's work, but Civil War is probably his most, like, straightforward movie. It's literally a civil war. I mean, like, a lot of the criticism of this movie is that it's boring, you know? And like, I don't know what movie you guys are watching. It's very well paced. Just everything about like the cinematography is fantastic, but it is the sound design. Like this is like as close to what you'd imagine a civil war is like. Not even a civil war, a war, you know?
Yeah.
Because the main plot follows these photojournalists. So everything is framed very nicely. And a lot of it is very visual storytelling. A lot of the criticism as well is that the characters are not that deep and it's pointless. But I think that kind of is the point, because war is war, and it really depicts how natural war is almost, and how much war is basically a part of us, and how, you know, some people tend to just ignore it because they come across these subsects of people where the war has been untouched. And they're just like, yeah, we know it's happening, but we kind of just try to stay out of it. And it's pretty much like true. I mean, I'm not going to get into all the world conflicts that are happening now, but there's stuff that's happening and like we don't pay attention to it. But does that like make us bad people? And there's only really like a couple of action scenes which are shot, they're done really, really well. But most of the tension is like within the situations that they come across. And there is like Jesse Plemons plays like, he's obviously like a white supremacist. That is actually the best scene in the movie. It's really hard to watch, especially if you are Asian, because it's very uncomfortable. Even some of the people like next to me, they were like dude bros, but they were like quite shocked. They were like, fuck, like this, like Alex Garland has a pretty good grasp on horror, because it's not a scary movie, but there's some imagery in this movie that is quite confronting. It's not gory or violent, but it is
that's kind of what Annihilation is as well. Right?
Yeah.
Not super gory, but some of it is a bit uncomfortable to look at.
You'd be doing a disservice to this movie, and really any Alex Garland movie, if you're not watching it in a theater, because even like the boring dialogue stuff is shot really well, and it just adds to the story of it.
Do you think a lot of the enjoyment you get from these films comes from the filmmaker's eye?
Yeah, but I mean, like, you might be right. Yeah.
You know, like, is there enough narratively in this film to be of interest?
I mean, aside from the atmosphere and the filmmaker's eye, like, you should be smart enough to know situations and read people's expressions, right? It's all there, and you have to use your own imagination, which is what I think a lot of general people kind of lack these days, because I mean, I'm gonna slam TikTok again, but it is just the generation of TikTok and Disney where we're fed a lot of just like slop cinema wise. I think this is a very straightforward movie, and I don't think there's really that much to it, but people don't seem to get it. But I don't know, like, I find this to be a very thought-provoking movie. I would just say go watch it in the theater, go support this kind of vision, so Alex Garland can make more movies, because I feel like he's a director that gets kind of thrown aside a lot, really.